All right, so it's a lovely good evening and welcome to Ubuntu channel. In case you're joining us for the very first time, we appreciate you joining us, and we are saying like our page, follow us on YouTube, as well as subscribe to our channel. Follow us as well on Twitter so that you can get updated on what is happening in the planet. This particular Wednesday evening, I am your host, Lance Sani Banda, and this is Meet Your Leaders. This particular evening, we are discussing the topic, Zambia's politics, what is at stake, and our guest to help us discuss this important topic is none other than President Madam Saboi Imboela, who is the president for the National Democratic Party, National Democratic Congress Party president, right here, as we get to discuss that particular issue. Remember that you can get to be part of the program by leaving us a comment underneath this particular broadcast, either on Facebook, on YouTube, as well as, or simply later on the program, you can get to call us or send us a WhatsApp message on the number 092 959608. That is 0972 959608. For those of you that are watching us from the diaspora and you'd love to be part of the program by calling us on the program, do not forget to add our country code, which is +260, and then you get to follow suit on the number that we have shared with you right there. So shortly, I will be joined by my co-host Chaza. But before we get to do that, maybe let me get to introduce to you our guest for this particular evening, and then we'll be glad to also hear from you through those comments that you send us. We also appreciate the fact that you are always a part of us, because you are always with us. We've grown together for the past 1 year plus that we have been broadcasting right here as an online broadcasting or as an online media. So our guest this particular evening, like I mentioned, is none other than President Saboi Imboela, who represents the National Democratic Congress Party. So she'll be joining us also shortly. She'll be joining us shortly on the program, and we'll be getting to know more about her, or get to know her in details right here. And as you can see, she has already come through. President Madam Imboela, if you can permit me to call you that, or maybe Madam Imboela, you will advise. Welcome to the program. Good evening.
Good evening, Lance. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, let's go first of all with the guideline. How do I address you? My leader, President Imboela, or just Madam Imboela?
Any of the three is very, very okay with me.
Okay, so permit me to call you my leader. I think
Not a problem.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we are so appreciative that you responded positively to our call so that you can make an appearance on our on our online media. It's really a honor to have you.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So first of all, since this is in football, we call it debut time. Let's get to make our followers and viewers understand who exactly Madam Imboela is. Let's talk about socially, family-wise, and just basically even your educational background.
Okay. Yeah, so my name is Saboi Imboela. Like you have said, I'm the president of the National Democratic Congress, NDC. And before I got here, of course, I was born many, many years ago in the late 70s. I'm over 40 by age. I've got 3 children, 3 lovely children. I went to school at Woodlands A Primary School. In fact, first of all, I started with Lusaka Girls, then Woodlands A Primary School. Secondary school, I went to Arakan Secondary School. And later on, I did go to the University of Zambia, where I did political science. I went to Wesleyan College, where I did law, sociology, and English, via the University of London, or rather, University of London via the Wesleyan College. And what is this? Diplomacy, at ZDIS, I did that as well. And monitoring and evaluation at UNZA as well. So I've done quite a number of things here and there. And I did my master's degree in international law and politics from New Zealand at the University of Canterbury. So briefly, that's that. And in terms of working history, I did work for the Electoral Commission of Zambia. I worked for the UN. I worked for UNZA as a lecturer. At first, I started as a tutor, then lecturer. And the last job I had was with Save the Children. It's an international organization which looks after the welfare of the children worldwide. It's in over 120 countries. Okay, by the time I was resigning from Save the Children to get into active politics, Save the Children was in about 120 countries by then. I don't know by now, I'm sure they've even increased, So briefly, that's my family education and work history.
Well, on a lighter note, you don't look like somebody in 1970s.
I am. Thank you. That's a very good compliment. Thank you so much. But I am. Even if it's a late 70s, but still 70s.
Okay. Well, pretty interesting. To you, all right. So to you, our dear viewers that are watching us for the very first time, this is Meet Your Leaders on Ubuntu channel, and of course, none other than Madam Saboi Imboela, who is president for the National Democratic Party, National Democratic Congress Party, which is NDC. And then also our topic of discussion this particular evening is looking at Zambia's politics.
It looks like Lance is having a connect challenge there. You getting?
Yeah, I can see
Madam
that.
Saboi?
Yes, I can get you.
Yeah, so I think we can take it up from there. And
Okay.
I think he's just complimenting you that you don't look like one who belongs to the 70s. He probably presumes you belong to the 80s because the looks. Now, let me now get to find out from you. I have known you from, the music industry. And right now, there's this, transition into the political aspect. What really inspired you to get into politics?
Well, what inspired me to get into politics was the kind of job that I was doing, with the UN first and foremost. I was working under the country director's office at first, and we did a lot of work with a lot of women organizations, including international ones from SA, South Africa, and Kenya, as well as Uganda, So that work got me so interested. And more than that, apart from these NGOs, we were working very closely with the Ministry of Gender, the Ministry of Gender. And I was one of the people that came up with the Women Parliamentary Caucus of the Zambian Parliament. Okay, it was an initiative of my boss by then, and he put me on the program to be one of the people that was writing the documents and going to Parliament. The parliamentarians will come to the UN. That is the female parliamentarians. That is, and my boss would always joke to say, "So you're on the wrong side of the politics." You don't need to be a diplomat from the UN side. You need to be there because you have everything that it takes. The program was about encouraging more women to stand as women politicians in the country. So they even joked to say, you should actually resign, and I'll definitely be, what is this? I'll be your campaign manager. That was our governance advisor, Mr. Michael Soko. That is his name rather, because he is alive. So he would encourage me like that, and a good number of people as well would always tell me that, to say, you will be. Others would even tell me, be a president one day. And you can imagine by then I didn't even have any interest in politics. Sister D would be one of them. I remember one of my teachers, Mr. Mwanga, Oscar Mwanga, he would say that he's I don't know if he's still in the UK or back now, but he's somebody who was doing a sport, is it Sport in Action or the other sports organization? So he's a well-known figure, But the person who would also consistently tell me that was my ex-husband. By then I was just full-time in music, but he'd always tell me to say, you're going to be the first female president of this country. Can you imagine that? And I'll be the first man, so would joke like that, So people around me were seeing that leadership in me when I didn't even say it myself, and being a person that works in this field of trying to bring in more women in politics, I'll tell you that a lot of women, one of the biggest reasons why women don't stand or get involved in politics, you'd find that their spouses actually don't support them with the pursuit for leadership positions, But for you to have been coming from home at a time where I not even have the interest, but my partner was the one who'd be like, you are going to make a very good leader of this country one day. This, he would always tell me that. So by the time it was happening, actually, and like I said, it was my ex-husband who would tell me that. And by the time I was making a decision to get into politics, we had already been divorced. And I'd even call him and I'd be like, you see what you were telling me? You're the one who brought this upon me. You get the point. So I'd joke around with him like that, So be those people around me. And then, like I said, the works I did with the UN, and then later on Save the Children. Because with Save the Children, I had an opportunity also to move around the country. And I saw firsthand the problems that women and children face. So all the time I would be exposed to these problems. And then later on, I just said, you know what, I'd rather be on the other side of the coin than this side. Because in the NGO world, they have this saying which says that as an NGO, you can help 5 Marys, okay? But as government, you can help all the Marys. Meaning that as an NGO, you can do whatever it is you can, but you're limited in terms of resources and everything. So you can help whatever few number you can. But if you're in government, you can help come up with the right policies to ensure that everybody else in that particular social grouping or even sector is helped. So that, to me, I think was a driving force. And at first, I would even say I'm in politics for the women and the children. And that still has not changed. That is still my driving force. When it comes to politics, I think for me, when I do have that opportunity, people always see that everything else I do, that inclination towards women and children, will always be there.
I'd like to also, find out, because I have observed that Zambian politics is, much centered on, character assassination. What kind of a politician are you? How do you describe yourself politically?
Well, I would say I want to be a good politician, okay? I want to be issue-based. I want to be that, and I believe that's the kind of politician that I am, But to be honest with you, sometimes when you live in a certain environment, when you're in Rome, sometimes you have to do what the Romans do. Never change your character. I tell people to say never change your character for whatever reason. But sometimes when you're in a certain environment, there comes in defense mechanisms which have to work. When you're in a tough environment, you have to be tough. You get the point. So politics, Zambian politics, as they are right now, they're in such a way that a lot of mud is thrown to a lot of people. So sometimes you rub off the mud, sometimes you pick up the mud and you throw it back. You get the point. So that's what I would describe, to say the current scenario is so bad that you can't be in defense mode all the time. Sometimes when you're hit so much, you hit back, But in terms of the politician, the kind of politician I am, I think I'm a very issue-based politician. I think I love intellectual politics. Like I mentioned earlier on, I'm a person that has done political science at the University of Zambia. I've done international law and politics. I've not only been a tutor, but also a lecturer, not only at private government, but private universities. One of the universities I've taught at is Kaniki Bible University College in Ndola. I've had a chance to lecture a good number of pastors, bishops, just general men and women of God. So the kinds of politics that I want to do are those whereby I come out and I bring out certain things, and especially in this environment also whereby it's so tough for women, and women stay away because of the insults, because of the violence, because of the corruption, because of all those things, so you want to really show to say at the end of the day, this is a space that women also can occupy. We can occupy it as women and bring forth that women are known to bring forth, and that is the issue of peace, the issue of uniting people, just other issues as well. The issue of just bringing issues to do with women and children, like I spoke of even earlier on. But to cut the long story short, I am that issue-based politician. I think apart from what people see in the media, we do have a lot of strategies that we actually always have to come up with. I'm a very strategic politician. I bring forth a lot of strategies, a lot of ideas to the people that I'm normally with, be it my fellow party members, other political party leaders, and we do operate like that. But to be honest with you, because of the environment that we live in, sometimes when things are thrown at you, we also get to throw back, because that's just the nature of what our politics are all about these days, sadly.
Thank you so much, Madam Saboi. My colleague and co-host is right back with us. Lance, welcome back, and I throw it back to you before I actually come back.
All right. Thank you so much, Chaza. Maybe just a quick follow-up on the question that you asked, and also the answer that Madam Savoy brought through. Many a times that we have seen, especially female politicians that have aspired for top leadership, presidents of the party, they are always discriminated because they are female, and then people try to bring in all this and that from there. You, as a female leader for a political party, how have you endured, and how are you enduring with the current political status that Zambia is practicing?
Okay. First of all, I try to be strong. I try to be strong because at the end of the day, I do understand that people do that just for the sake of scaring off women. So because I understand the reason they do it, I tell myself that you're not going to break me or bring me down. And that is why for me, I always say that all these bad things we see in our politics is a reason why we need more women. Because once we have more women in our politics, trust me, some of these things will naturally go away. Because the things that men are concentrating on, sorry to say that, are not things that I would want to concentrate on as a woman. So when we have more women, some of these things, the violence, the corruption, they will just reduce naturally. So the wrong things that are happening in our politics should not make women stay away, but it should actually make them come in so that they help shape a better Zambia. I always say that just in case my daughter, I've got one daughter, two sons, I always say that just in case my daughter wants to be a politician in the next few years, I want her to find a better Zambia than I have right now. So how do I create a better Zambia for my child? I have to be in it and fight for it, so that whatever it is that people have to throw at women, let them throw at me as a mother, so that when my daughter and all the other girls that will come after us are going to find a better Zambia. But if you're going to cow down and run away from what is going on right now, trust me, the situation will just continue being worse.
Now, character assassination in our current political discourse has mostly hit you, our female leaders, than our male leaders, because with our female leaders, they will say all sorts of things. We've heard of allegations to say for a woman or a female to reach such a top position as the one that you are carrying now as a president of an opposition political party, you must have slept with somebody in the party, and all these rhetorics that happen there. How do you deal with such? And maybe looking at the fact that you are, I think you are one of the two or three women that are leading the opposition political party. Apart from you, we have Madam Nawakwi. We also have Madam, the one leading New Heritage
Sharagateka.
Party, Madam
Madam
Kateka.
Sharakateka. Yeah.
How do you deal with these things? Because there's that notion to say you cannot reach a top position in the political party if you do not, do all those immoral issues. So character assassination is more on you in this politics.
I'll be honest with you. You know that notion or stereotype, whatever it is, it's almost everywhere. As long as they see a woman rising, they say that. Okay, and for political parties, funny enough, by the way, they would say other positions, not presidency. I've never heard that being said about a president. Okay, to say for you to be president, then you need to sleep with somebody. Then who are going to sleep with because you're the one who will be leading the party. You get the point. You're going to sleep with, you get the point. Because if you're the person leading the party, then there's nobody to sleep with, So I've not heard that being said about presidents, okay? But I've heard it being said about many other positions. And for me, I'm sure you have seen that one of the things that I've been doing in my political life is actually fight against sexual harassment. I actually fought it at UNZA when I was a student, and I've been fighting it even in my political career because, number one, the truth of the matter is that sexual harassment is very rife, be it at universities, colleges, political parties, work environments. Because in Zambia, people feel that a woman can only get certain advantages or certain positions after being victimized in that way. So women need to know that there are many women out there that stand with them, whichever space you're in. Be it you're a student, you're a politician, you're wherever, you want a job and somebody is sexually harassing you, we are here as women and we're going to help you out. Are you getting the point? I've put myself there personally to say, this should not happen because it's something that has disadvantaged our country for a very, very long time. Because number one, when you do that, when you accept sexual harassment as a way of doing things, you may get the wrong people for the jobs because the women that compromise themselves are the ones that are going to get the jobs. Then number two, those that don't want to compromise themselves, they fail to reach whatever position that they're supposed to reach. So sexual harassment is one of the evil things that we need to fight tooth and nail. And I think I've been on record as being one of those people that has heavily fought against it to the point whereby when I was chairperson of the Women in Politics platform, which is an initiative of the National Women's Lobby, I was the president of that platform for 3 years. I only stepped down last year after serving my third term, So now the president there is, or the chairperson is Mrs. Azalomis, the vice president of the MMD. One of the things that I would champion as a chairperson was that if you're going to increase women participation in politics, we need to have a sexual harassment policy, all of us as political parties. So something is being worked on so that when we have a blueprint, all the other political parties can help adopt it, and then we help tackle sexual harassment in almost all political parties. So to cut the long story short and to get back to your question, the notion of women having to sleep with people to get to certain places definitely is there. Okay, people would always say that, but it's not true. It's not always that that has to happen. And for a position like president, for example, like I have said, I've actually never heard it. And to lead a party is not a small thing. The bad thing about women that, for example, compromise themselves because they say, it's a man's world. Maybe if I don't do this, I'll be compromised or I'll be disadvantaged and everything. When you do that, people all normally know to say this one to get there, this is what happened. So you find that you may get something, but you end up right there. Nobody will respect you for anything more. So for people like myself to get to the position where I am, trust me, it's because of that respect that people had for me. I remember in NDC, a person like our former president, Mr. Dr. Chibaka would always say, Saboi Maume, so so why would he say Saboi Maume? Because of the works that I was doing, he would call me Iron Lady and many other people in the party. They had so many nicknames for me because of the works that I was doing, So for me also, I'll tell you one thing for a fact. One of the things that people really respect in political parties is the issue of by-elections. when I was in the UPND, because I was in the UPND first before I went to NDC, I was that person where by elections, whatever, I would avail myself. You know, you're going somewhere, and you know, when you're in the opposition, you even spend your own money. So you spend your own money, you help out other people and stuff like that. So the party begins to respect you for that. In NDC as well. So my works spoke for me, and I rose through the ranks because of the kinds of works that I was doing, to the point whereby the vice presidency, at first I remember Dr. Kambui, when he wanted to choose the vice president, he had three people as options. He had Mr. Kafumba, Professor Atanga, and myself, because it was very clear to say, I want a Lozi vice president. And he was so inclined towards me because he was saying, Saboi is Lozi and also a woman, plus all the hard work that I've talked about. But at that time, I was thinking, I'm too young, I can't be vice president. I was so scared about the position, you know. So I made sure that I'm even one of the people that campaigned for Mr. Kafumba. You know, before he left NDC, he would even call me a traitor. My sister, a traitor, you know, you campaigned for me, but you should have been, you know, vice president, stuff like that. Just would joke like that, you know. But afterwards, when now the right time came, the call for vice presidency did not even come from the president, it came from the members to say the only person that can fit this position is Saboi. If I was that person that had compromised myself, trust me, everybody else would have, not that one, she got there because of this and that. But all the positions that I'd had before then was because of the hard work that I had, or that I was putting to the party. You get the point. Contributions as well. It's very, very important to contribute to political parties. People think that by belonging to a political party, you have to chew money from there and everything. You need to realize that when you're in opposition, especially, whatever lead you have, contribute as well. And I'm one of those people that was committed to contributing to the party, you know. That is why even for me right now, even when I'm making a certain appointments in the party, I'll be honest with you, those are amongst the things that you look at. You look at a loyalty, you look at hard work, you look at experience of the person, sometimes academic qualifications, and then sometimes you look at contribution to the party. It can be monetary reform, it can be their time, it can be just a kind of experience they bring forward and teach others and everything. So all those are the things that make people rise through the ranks.
Beautiful. It's definitely, you know, a good thing to learn, you know, all these things from a lady like you who has been there, you know, for some time, you know, started, you know, with the musical aspect, and all these things have been there even in the, you know, the music industry, and now the political, you know, industry. You know, we are so fortified. Now, at this point in time, I'd like to find out from you generally, what is the essence, the role, and the purpose of, you know, opposition political parties in a country?
Okay, the role of opposition political parties in the country is, number one, to provide checks and balances. You know, number two, to provide alternatives. You know, I saw at the last press conference where the president was saying that he wants alternatives from the opposition political parties. We've been talking to him all this time about it. He has not been listening. You know, and number two, each and every political party does have a manifesto. It's a manifesto which is an alternative. You know, the UPND itself did present a manifesto to the Zambians when they were campaigning to be elected into office, but they veered off from their manifesto. The 10-point plan, I don't know where it is. I've been looking for it. I can't even find it. Themselves, they've buried it. We need to look at that 10-point plan so that even when we're criticizing them, we need to remind them to say, point number one was this. Point number two was this. Where are you going? You know, so we're remembering a few things in terms of mines, in terms of agriculture, in terms of youth employment, in terms of education. The things that we're remembering, we're reminding them. And that's our role as opposition political parties. But what we need right now actually is to get to the actual 10-point plan and criticize them from there. You know, and also as we criticize them, get our own manifestos to say, according to the NDC manifesto, this is what we are proposing, and that's exactly what we have been doing. I've been saying that the NDC, our cornerstone is industrialization, job creation through industrialization. So our job as the NDC, and as much as we do have the UPND as the people that are leading our government right now, we can actually come through and tell them to say, why don't you still try out this? You may not have this in your manifesto, or it's not so pronounced as it is in ours. But do you realize that if we do this, it will be better, okay? There are no industries in this country. Go to Minilunga right now. When the UPND formed government, there was that company which they said that will start making pineapple juice and everything, and we're all very happy because that's what we need to see. Places like Minilunga with all those pineapples, we want to see people having industries there to make pineapple juice, selling to the rest of the country and exporting. Go to Western Province, the cashew nuts there. We want to see people having, an industry there. The government should build an industry there so that they're able to buy the cashew nuts from the people, package them nicely, and sell them to the whole country and internationally. Cashew nuts are very, very expensive. Go to Eastern Province there, the groundnuts, even the maize for that matter. Right now, there's a shortage of maize in the country. And we're even saying, no, there's so much smuggling and everything. Zambia has always sold maize to Congo, for example. We have always sold maize to Congo. So what we need to do now is to ensure that we empower our local farmers. Southern Province and Eastern Province, they do a lot of farming. And other parts of the country, of course, they do have their fair share of farming. Let's empower the farmers as much as possible so that they're able to do what? They're able to sell maize to the government, and the government should have a lot of stock, enough for the local market as well as exporting. Mealie meal maize in Congo is very, very expensive, but we shouldn't even sell maize. It's about value addition. Let's sell mealie meal so that it's more expensive. Those are the things that opposition political party leaders and also opposition political parties have to talk about. That is our role. Free education, for example, the UPND in their manifesto says that they're going to have free education from grade 1 all the way to universities. The form government, they change from grade 1 to grade 12. So what is our role as opposition political parties is to remind them, to say, yourselves, including you as president, in terms of your promise, the manifesto itself of the UPND talks about free education from grade 1 all the way to university. So please, can you make this a reality? And more than that, we want to see good quality education, not where there are so many children in classrooms. I've been challenging people, especially in the media, to say, wherever you are in the country, just move to the nearest government school. You're going to find one small class. There are 200 children in there, 230, 150 children. How can children learn like that? So it's not only about providing education, it's about ensuring that the children also learn, okay? We don't want children to pass through school and school does not pass through them. Because this relationship between a human being and school is a two-way relationship. When you pass through school, school should pass through you. But in the current form of education, this so-called free education of the UPND, we're going to have children who will be passing through school, but school won't be passing through them. So we don't want that. And as opposition, we're definitely going to remind them to do the right thing.
Okay. Now, Madam President, maybe just to ask a question from your response on my colleague's question. Do you think you, as our opposition leaders, we have so many opposition political parties in Zambia, together with you, Madam Saboi, do you think that you, our opposition leaders or opposition parties, are exercising the role that you have just given from that question which my colleague asked? Do you think you are exercising that role and purpose?
Oh, yes, we are. Certainly. Oh, yes, we are. It's one of the reasons why when you call me for programs like these ones, for example, I say yes, okay? Because when I come here, it is my role to talk about what is going on in the country, okay? So having these interviews is one critical role that an opposition party leader should actually honor, okay? It's a role whereby you have to realize that when it comes to politics and development, it's not everybody that is on the same page, okay? So we need to come out and explain issues, because sometimes when you talk about things which are wrong in the country, some people even ask you, why do you hate the president? Why do you hate the UPND? Others even go as far as saying, you are bitter, you are this, you are that. Why should we be bitter? You get the point, And sometimes, and I've been telling people to say, honestly, if we're going to be honest, I know as leaders, we like to put ourselves like in the positions of the people and everything. But to be honest with you, if you look at a good number of opposition political party leaders, there are few things they have done in their lives whereby their lives are not as bad as the ordinary person out there. So when people are doing or saying something, it's not about they're jealous of with the current government or whatever it is. No, it's not true. I'll give you a small example. I live in my house, for example, okay? No matter how bad things get, I won't worry about rent, okay? The least I worry about is that, vitu vavuta nifuna vakudye. But at least I know I've got a house over my head. I'm going to buy vegetables. I'm going to buy a capamela. I'm going to buy whatever. In fact, let me not even say that. I never get to the level of buying a capamela. Let me not say that. You get the point. That's not true. I'll have a bag of mealie meal in the house and I'll do some beans, I'll do some whatever. I've got chickens, I've got ducks at my house. When I get so broke, I would say, kill a chicken, do whatever, I'll eat it. You get the point. So when we talk so that we want to embarrass the people in government and everything, we talk for the people, you know. So, but you find that our role sometimes is compromised by the supporters of, let's say, the ruling party. You know, they want, sometimes others are even sent, you know, the ruling parties of this are normally notorious for sending young people to more or less like insult the opposition, to say all sorts of funny things so that people fear to talk, you know. But as opposition, we understand our role very, very well. And we're in the media despite the insult sometimes, despite whatever, we go out there and we do what it is that we need to do. I'll give you an example, even free education. I'm always one person that was very okay with free education. My firstborn daughter, you know, despite the fact that she went to private schools here and there as she was young, but as she came to secondary school, I wanted her to finish at a government school, and she did that. Same with my sons. I made sure that they were at private schools when it really mattered, but secondary, I'm a person that says secondary school, there's that competition at government schools and everything. So I wanted my two sons to complete at government schools. But when I saw how bad the situation is in terms of free education, my children in their class, they turned out to be 150. They were not learning. And there would be these teachers who would say, you know how it is with government schools. I am making noise, I've gone. You're not, you children are funny. Tomorrow I won't even come, you know? So there was this teacher mid-term, I think she had just taught them twice. You get the point? But because, like I said, as opposition political party leaders, we speak for the people. We have options ourselves. When I saw that the so-called free education became so bad, I've actually removed my children from a government school and I've taken them to a private school where I'm paying so much money instead of having free education. You get the point? So when I come out here and speak, it's because that's my role. My role is to speak for the people out there, you know? And people should not insult us as opposition and think we are jealous, we're doing whatever. No. Because the honest truth is that most of us, we have done a few things in our lives whereby even when things are so bad, we do have like a small cushion where we say, okay, so. But the ordinary person out there, a woman in Mississippi, a woman in Chawama, a woman even in Chirenje, when your child has been put in a class where they are 200, you can't say, I'll take out my child and I'll take them to a school where I'm going to pay 20,000. You won't. You're going to suffer with that, you know? So that's a kind of a situation that we find ourselves in the country, and also the strange situation that opposition political party leaders sometimes face, whereby you speak for the people, but you're being accused of being jealous because you don't like the people that are in government, or you're just jealous of what it is that they're doing. Yeah.
Speaking about jealousy, or maybe trying to come in from there, maybe you answer this later, but it appears like now the only example that you can give is free education, because you have seen whatever that it has come with. But anyway, I'll ask that question later, because we still have more questions for you, Madam Saboi. Anyway, to you, our dear viewers, we implore you, and we are coming back to you to say you can leave either a question, a comment, or a contribution on what we are discussing this particular evening right here on Ubuntu channel, as we are talking about Zambia's politics, like what is at stake, the type of politics that Zambia practices, what is at stake. Our guest this particular evening is President Saboi Imboela, who is a president for the National Democratic Congress Party. All right, National Democratic Congress Party, NDC in short. And our topic is Zambia's politics, what is at stake. So you can leave a comment underneath this broadcast, or better still, you can send us a message or call us direct into the studio by using this number, which our director is putting on the screen right now. So you can call us or send us a WhatsApp message on the number 0972 959608. 0972 959608. Make your comment using this number. You can either call or text on WhatsApp from wherever that you are watching us, or wherever that you're watching this broadcast from, either Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, or from the diaspora, not only Zambia. So if you're calling from the diaspora, please add the country code, which is +260. If you're already in the country, it's and well, we are used with the 09. I can just go by saying 97. So it's 0972959608. Call or text. We'll be glad to hear from you. My director, sorry, before we bring in Chaza for the next question, let's just, okay, we seem to have a call. Hi, good evening. Hello? Hello, you are through to the program.
Hello?
Hi, good evening.
Hello?
Hi, good
Good evening.
evening.
Yes, we
Your
can
name and
hear
where
you. Good evening. Are you getting us?
Okay.
Your name
Hello?
and where you are calling us from. Your name and where you are calling us from.
Kelvin Moya.
Kelvin, where are you calling us from? Kanyama?
Okay.
Okay. Please go ahead with your contribution. Okay, we seem to have lost Kelvin. Please, when you call through or when you call in, please use your phone. Do not want to use Zimbere, Wamene Matumia or Chani, using any phone yan, because we'll be communicating direct na imwe pa phone pan. Tikakamba hello, ni direct pa phone pan. Kuzanko ni volume olo tenti kabisane so that tiziwe nje hapa mwafika manje. So the number that you are calling us on is 0972959608. Our guest this evening is President Saboi Imboela of the National Democratic Congress Party, and we're discussing Zambia's politics. What is at stake? The kind of politics that Zambia is practicing now. What is at stake? Director, if you can only read two messages before we bring in Chaza to ask the next question. Director, just two messages. All right. So Susan Musonda says, Elena Ilepia, watching you live, Madam President. All right, Susan, thank you so much for coming through. Let's get through to the other message. Joseph Mwila says, opposition is all about offering checks and balances. Offer solutions to the problem, not just pointing the wrongs without honest solutions. All right. Madam President, hopefully you've taken note of these messages as you are responding to the next question. Please also respond to these messages. Chaza, let's go through to your next question, and also let's get through to those messages. Remember, you can still call us on the number that is on your screen. Chaza.
All right, Lance, thank you so much. I do appreciate. Madam President, I would like, to indicate that it has been observed, especially in our country, that there are too many political parties. And it looks like, every president of, an opposition party would like to be the president of the nation. And some of them are actually, so egocentric, such that they are not interested in amalgamating because of that ego. Is it not a good thing, because you are saving the common cause, to see some amalgamation, and like having a plethora of names and faces on the ballot paper? What's your reaction to that?
Well, that is definitely the case. And, the level where Zambian politics has reached right now, it's very difficult for one opposition political party to outdo or unseat, a ruling party or an incumbent. Okay. This is a situation that we see in Kenya, for example, in Malawi, in Germany with their Grand Coalition and everything. We're also seeing that in Zambia. That is why even the ruling party right now is the so-called UPND alliance. We have seen alliances before between the PF and the MMD, the UPND and its alliance partners, and all those things. So we have reached that level. And right now it's even worse, And before, the alliances in Zambia would break because everybody would want to be a president. President Michael Sata and President HH, for example, they broke their alliance because they both wanted to be president. But the level we have reached right now as opposition political party leaders, trust me, we are in talks, and we all realize the fact that for us to win the elections and do what it is we want to do for the Zambians, we need to unite. And with that, also, people have to be selfless, So the egos, the selfishness, all those things, people have to remove them and look at the best interests of the Zambians. And the way we've been talking now with the opposition political party leaders that we're in talks with, we are saying it's not about an individual, okay? It's not about an individual, about one or two parties. It's about who the people want. So at some point, we're going to formalize our alliance and bring out what the alliance is all about to the people out there, and then allow the people to choose who they want to lead the alliance. And once the people choose, okay, all of us are going to rally behind that person, because at the end of the day, like we have said, it's not easy for one political party to win. Even the UPND right now, as a current government, trust me, they can't win on their own. At the right time, they'll need to forge alliances with other opposition political party leaders, other opposition political parties rather, and other parties also need to form alliances with others. And that's how definitely any meaningful political parties will win the elections.
So, you are talking about the people choosing the leader that they want. So if you were to alliance and, another, person or president is chosen to lead that alliance, okay, let's see if we can talk to the caller on the line. Good evening. Okay. Good evening, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Hello?
What is your name? Hello? And where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you are through to the program. Good evening.
Hello,
it appears the caller is having challenges. Okay, Kelvin,
no,
how are you doing?
I can hear him now. I can hear him clearly myself, yeah.
pakola tratando kuchavuchana ndakupero sindi ndava vare ndakuri muntu ukwetoluso uindemira pakuti yawama ndakuatire kwaiko vana mayo vava kunitangisa pakuti yawama ndivanze vamadamu isaboye titunturu tikakwaikwa sana kuvapera puresa pakuti vachivokwe vati itinto zvirechitigamba piwenzi because inotiti vareve pavantu kwevati namaetetatengejaro ndipesokotare ndakuvaivavulira vantu vareva kanya because navechivati namayo ndati yava pamudhunguru chikakwa corruption ari kwatoruse kiriniki ngatapari ararucha pari because varakwate varasungomuwana 9 months kida vakaripa because vararucha piwami kanyama police response wesichakwava upo vatovela tavakura penda vomwana kachindari kuita vakura yonse titire turengokwe vati vetokuvika pomwana kachi ukwetorusa winda konditomrecharo nochava vaumya vakwe vati varechitanase vano kuchemani kulasha kuisoko pachatire kuto varesanavyo tapanichire chitika ilandiva varepera maforena vakweterandi kwevena zambia kwavulalangi lalangi ndavapera mazambiani vaingisa mayupi kunational service nokutambokulima amaomunga vukati pamuno muzambia ngati kupera maforena vaesa export amazambiani asiri nismartphone kuisa indalama chikwira amazambiani vayashisha vaseka muzambia vacha maforena yashisha yatwara kumakantiri yavo sasa turekwaya yonse turekuwa muzambiani aretete nkoko nokushikisha aleni makapeti nokushikisha nokumupera langi ikulu bamukutana impawa ikareka bamuta impawa atampokulima nochokutunga vyati yose impawa tapariketika emukwaye.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Kelvin. We do appreciate. Thank you for coming through. A reaction from Madame Saboi just before Lance, comes in.
Well, what he has said is definitely very, very true. He has said a lot of pertinent issues, and I'd really, really like to thank him for that. That's very, very commendable. I can't even add to what he has said. There's just so much wisdom there, and I totally agree with him, like 100%. What he has said is very, very true. And just to touch on briefly on what he has said, even the issues of soybeans. Imagine the president last year tells people to say, we have this Chinese market, grow soybeans and we hope you sell it. And people go ahead and they do that. And then he comes back and says, we are not going to buy soybeans. What kind of people do that, And it's very right. As women, we do have hearts for people naturally. Always we have that empathy. It's not always about sympathy with women. Normally we have empathy as well, because we always feel like, okay, if I was the person in that position, how really will I feel? How will this affect me? So all those things are things which are so normal and so natural when it comes to women. So it's very unfortunate that this can happen like this, actually.
All right, Lance, I throw it, to you at this point in time.
Okay, thank you so much, Chaza. I think I would like to go, in the way of Mr. Kelvin, our previous caller. You have to forgive me for jumping maybe the question that you're supposed to ask next, but because Mr. Kelvin, this issue, let me maybe get to come in and talk about this thing. Now, Madam or President Saboi, as a country or as a citizenry of Mother Zambia, currently we are seeing things happening in a way that we did not expect as a citizenry of Zambia. All right? What do I mean by this? Cost of living is high on average Zambian. We have Zambians that are working for 50 kwacha per day. Kuma industries huko. Hiyo 50 kwacha per day. Singa kwanza kugula unga.
Yeah. It's very, very sad. It's very sad because, like I said earlier on, as opposition political party leaders, we do talk for people. So meaning that people speak to us, they call us on a daily basis to tell us various issues. And one of the things that really touched me is when people were telling me to say they fail to buy a bag of mealie meal. You know, that 6 months even passes without buying a bag of mealie meal because of those issues, you know, somebody getting a 50 kwacha. You know, so when they get a 50 kwacha, they have to budget on a daily basis. Niguremo ka pamela, niguremo ka ndio kaso, niguremo ka, you know, tomato. So they plan like that on a daily basis. And it's not enough. So these are the things whereby as a government, when you're planning, don't plan from your point of view because if you this and this is easy to get. It's not like that. Make sure that you have the people's interests, you know, the people's problems at heart for you to do a good number of these things.
Okay. Sorry for that, Madam President. I know you've responded to the first part of my question. But anyway, it's good that you've done that. Maybe going back to the second part, apart from, you know, people failing to buy mealie meal because the cost of living is high because they are working for a 50 kwacha kuma industries, kulingwa sense like a 30 kwacha per day, kulingwa sense like a 20. Life is going like that for an average Zambian. All right. So things at the rate that we are moving, things are not moving at the way anticipated, because when they were voting for this new government, the new government assured them to say things are going to be okay. Unga uzabwerera, matrolleys mushoprit azapaka, and all this and that. But at the rate that we are moving, people, cost of living is high, kaunga, kakwera, fuel, yaenda pamwamba. Apart from that, vankala expensive. Despite looking at it, kwacha gaining pali dollar or combat inflation rate tabulera pa single digit. But si angizika kuri ife bantu etinkala kukomboni. What do you think is causing that? And you as an opposition, what better options are you giving to this government to see to it that they look not only across a Zambian who is getting salary ya 3,000 kunda pa mwamba, but talanganako na muntu wa kutanjere aenda kuma industries per night asenzera 40 kwacha.
Madam Saboi, are you there? It appears you know, we have lost our, you know, guest due to connectivity, and we do hope that you know, she'll be back shortly. For now, I think let's get to break, and on the other side we get to continue with the program.
Yes, please. Let's take a break.
Globally, 85% of infertility is because of infections, typically the chlamydia and the gonorrhea.
Your time is up. Thank you so much.
Okay, since I've been mentioned, I can react to what comment Chinda just
Yes.
I haven't finished my point.
Remember,
No, let me finish my point so that my brother can.
Does the Patriotic Front know the kind of damage they have done to our economy and to our country? I do not.
The alleged abduction of Pamela Chisupa, and this case has really kept us on our toes. And you know, as much as
nobody has been acquitted from this new dawn administration cases that have been started. There's nobody that has been acquitted. Okay.
CJ, foreplay. I'm not talking about jump and begin acting like a kangaroo. No, foreplay. Many of us as Africans, we lack this virtue. This is not there.
Yeah, the time twaje ku Malabo. What's our the first game twale tena wa Senegal. I think very tutasana underrated because even the warm up, you can see the way they are doing warm up. Bare munakati bola na wawina kale nyo.
It's actually good if you start creating competition in the team. If you don't create competition, then you will have a problem. Who to replace when one is injured?
The names people have been calling me, I accepted them and I welcomed them. But what I would prefer being called as a nickname, I would prefer being called Sambalung.
From it, we can't make the Bible fit us and have things that make Esther feel good, and things that Esther doesn't really feel good about, she'll edit out.
We're trying to represent Zambia from a different side of things. We just don't want to be regular, you know what I'm saying? We try to package ourselves to Africa and the world.
Welcome back. This is Ubuntu, and you are right here. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So
And
please,
oh, sorry, Chaza.
Thank you, Lance. So we had the same thought, same weights there. Appreciating the people following out there, and we do appreciate that they are still right there with us, and it's good to have Madam President back. Let me throw it back to you so that you also say you're welcome back, Wades, or one or two other things, and we get to proceed with the program.
Well, you've already welcomed her back. So what I'm going to do quickly before we engage the last batch of messages that have come through, let me ask my question so that she can respond to that, and then we get to the messages that have come through. Madam Saboi, the
Yes,
question
please.
that I was asking, or the thing that I was talking about, you answered half of it, where I talked about cost of living being high because we have people that are working for 50 kwacha for my industries per day.
Yeah.
Partially, you explained that, but maybe I would love you to explain in details, because the context that I'm going to bring in will maybe help you understand the drive that I was going through. So, currently, our country has seen a growth. We have seen things happening the way we did not plan or expect. When the UPN was campaigning and coming into power, they told us, or they told the Zambian people to say, things are going to be simple and everything is going to be as simple as it will be. Cost of living was going to be low, everything was going to be low. Now, bantu bazakwatira, Shoprite, bantu bazambo kuzua na matoli, all this and that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, 1 year, 9 months down the line, cost of living is high for an average Zambian. Like somebody who lives in a shanty compound, kwa Kutranjere, banka kwa Kanyama, wazauka 05 kwenda kuma industry mwamene muja mwaka Nyama, endo sakira kuti angene chabe kuma industry kuja. Ichanchito endo yaukira 05 kuti angene kumfolesa, vamfolesa either 50 kwacha or 40 kwacha.
Yeah.
No, breakfast kari high. I don't want to mention prices. Kaunga che kari high, meal ili high, then poenda kuja futi kunjito, or poenda kuma industry kuja funga transport, fuel is high. Okay, fuel is high.
Yeah.
Uja muntu aina family, maybe let's pick a
Looks like Lance has frozen, but Lance,
Okay.
sorry,
we
I'm
had
back.
we, we
Sorry, I'm
had
back,
lost.
Chaza. Sorry. So, thank you. So, uja ni family of 3, eve bakazi bake na mwana aenda ku primary school. Mwana kuna matikizi daily kwenda ku school. Amaiba bankala pa nyumba, maybe bagulisa vitumbua owembekeza mpaka bamuna bagwere ku industry.
Yeah.
Cost of living is high for a family of
Yeah.
3. Let's not even go to vyama kama JCTR, a family of 5. So, life is not as we expected it to be, or what was promised by the New Dawn Party. What
Yeah.
do you think is the main problem to this? And you, as an opposition leader, what is the solution to this problem?
Well, the biggest problem we have definitely is bad governance, bad leadership. You know, the people voted for the UPND and President HH because they thought Bali was going to fix it. You know, they did talk about the problems that were being faced under the PF, and they said there were the solutions as UPND, they were going to fix those problems. But the truth of the matter is that they've performed badly. Like what you've been alluding to, Lance, in terms of the JCTR food basket, by the time the PF were leaving office, the food basket was at about 7,400, somewhere there, for a family over 5. Right now, the food basket is over 9,200 for a family of 5. So meaning that the cost of living has gone up by over 2,000 kwacha, and yet people still don't have jobs. Those that are in employment, they're still getting the same salaries. You know, so at the end of the day, the problems that people are facing out there, they're very genuine, and they're huge. You know, these are like big problems. You know, people are really failing to eat. When we have meetings in these places, one of the things people complain about mainly is just the fact that we are failing to eat 3 times a day. That's the biggest complaint, you know. So right now, the biggest issue is just a sack of mealie meal. We are failing to eat 3 times a day. And yet the promises were in such a way that when the UPND forms government, all these things will be a thing of the past. If anything, the 3 times a day that they were eating before, they're supposed to add on to more luxuries for them to have a better life and everything. But instead of continuing from where they were, people's livelihoods have now been worsened. You know, so it's not really a good state of affairs right now. And for me, the problem, of course, is the bad governance, the bad leadership. What is the solution? The only good thing that the UPND has is that they still have time. This is 2023. They've got 2 more years. You know, so in fact, on the other side, they still have time. On the other side, they don't have time. Are you getting the point? So with the time that they have right now, what they can do is that they can change a few things here and there. Number one, the issue of agriculture. You saw last farming season that just the procurement of agricultural produce, the distribution, all those things were delayed. So people got their farming inputs very late, and it has affected this harvest that we are seeing right now. You know, so they need to ensure that they do the right things. The issue of mining as well. We are busy going with the begging board, trying to go to all these countries to ask for money. And yet, when you look at the minerals that Zambia has, look at the gold, look at the sugilites now that have come out. If they just prioritize and say, let's ensure that we sell our minerals, we can raise so much money from here. But this colonial mentality that we have, you know, we have failed to liberate ourselves from this colonialism, whereby we think the answers will come from the West. The answers to this country won't come from the West. And that's the biggest problem that we have right now, over UPND and our president always thinking that the answers will come from the West. That is why you see that even in terms of the debt that we have, instead of the president going to China, instead of him maintaining good relations with China, he wants us to be an enemy of China. China has always been our friend. We've never been enemies with China. Our foreign policy has always been to be non-aligned. In the region, it has always been what they call good neighborliness, because we know that we are landlocked. Now what we're terming as land-linked. So according to Zambia's foreign policy, we've always said that we have to be a good neighbor, and policy-wise, they call it good neighborliness. You get the point? And with that, if you have seen in the past few months of the UPND, the 2 years of the UPND, just in the region, we're becoming a pariah state all of a sudden, because others are looking at us as these people that are bringing things in the region that can be dangerous for the entire region. Have a meeting today in Zambia, other heads of state won't come here. So at the end of the day, it's about the policies, it's about the decisions that the current government is making, which are impacting on everything else. Because if you have a debt which you're failing to pay, and you're not in good books with the people that you owe money, how exactly are you going to make a situation better, for the people? So these are the small issues, or big issues rather, which are there. In terms of people not having money, failing to eat, same situation, whereby issues to do with agriculture, for example, were totally messed up, totally messed up. So you can't have people managing. This issue of people going to the industrial areas getting my 50 kwacha, as if we don't have a minister of labor. The government should just talk. It's the duty of the government to make sure that the citizens are protected. Minimum wages are very, very important.
It's 40 kwacha.
50 kwacha. You see, we do have a minister of labor and we have labor laws in this country. You can't have that. Today, go to developed countries. One of the things that we even fail to do is even hire a maid in the house because they're protected by their laws. You find that just a man will be paying a maid. Yourself, you need it. It's a lot of money. So most people, when they're in the developed countries, you find that they can't even afford a maid. So we need to protect our people. So here also, when you have these people going out to all these industries to go and work, there has to be that minimum wage whereby the government says, okay, maybe per day somebody can get a 120, 150 or so. Above that or below, or rather below that, somebody should not be hired. That way, if they get, let's say, 50 people in one place, they can know that, okay, we can afford 40. So that another place again gets another 40, just like that. But not where people are going through so much, they're being exploited left, right, and center, and the government is turning a blind eye to all those things.
Madam Saboi, issues that you are raising here, trust me, I have so many questions for you. The time does not allow.
Yeah.
Looks like we have lost him. Madam Saboi, I have observed that, okay, let's read this, WhatsApp message first of all, before I bring my question. Good evening, Chaza and Lance. Good evening, Iron Lady, Madam President Saboi Imboela. You are indeed a lioness. Please keep on speaking for the masses. Zambia desperately needs your voice. Pastor Boyd from Ndola. Pastor Boyd, thank you so much. We do appreciate your contribution there. Thank you so much. All right, let me get back to my question. It's been observed that, there's a blame game between the government and the opposition parties. The opposition political parties will be blaming the government on almost everything that they do, and also the government will throw back the blame on the opposition parties. I'd like to find out from you, Madam Saboi, are there, despite all these, complaints, fuel, cost of living, and so on and so forth, are there any, scores that the government, of the day have, made in terms of development, in terms of policies? Which ones are the positives that you can itemize?
Well, the positives I did talk about the issue of free education. Okay, free education. The policy itself is good that they implemented it. But like I said, free education, according to their own constitution, they said free education from grade 1 to university, but they changed it to grade 12. But just from grade 1 to grade 12 for now, it's good enough. But we just want them to do what they promised and also provide good quality education for our children. That's number one. Then number two, cadarism. I think cadarism has significantly reduced. It has not completely finished, but it has significantly reduced. But what has happened also is that the UPND cadres have moved to be online. So the violence we used to see on the ground is now online. There's so much violence online in the country, and the UPND is watching that. So violence is still there, and it's worse right now. Because the cadres, before, you'd have to go to the market, you have to go to the stations to encounter that violence. But right now, let me just post something on my own page. You'll see how the cadres will come on my own page and insult me. That's violence, So those things are things which, to me, the UPND, in one way, they're doing okay, but again, they're failing in another way. Then another positive for me in terms of the UPND What is a positive? Okay, bring back the meal allowances. That's definitely a positive, because we need to prioritize education, and for me, education comes rather with all these other things. The bursaries, the meal allowances, all those things. It shows that we are serious about educating our people. So that's another positive for me. Of course, to be honest with you, I'm not being political, but the positives are just too few. Okay, the positives are too few. So no wonder even when I'm talking, I'm really stressing. I'm trying to find out where exactly have they done well, because if they were to do something nicely, I would actually say it. But the issues of the cadres, the issues of education, there they've scored a bit. Health, that there are no medicines. Even if I was to pretend and say no, things are okay in the health sector, people would actually be shocked with me, because there are no medicines in the hospitals. That's a fact. The children are 200 in one class. That's a fact. Agriculture, they distributed mameda. That's a fact. So they have just done so many wrong things. The dollar, which they said they're going to sort out, just 2 weeks ago they were celebrating that it's a $16, 16 kwacha per dollar. It's back at 19. And for me, I feel pity for the businessmen and women out there, especially those that do cross-border trading. Because imagine you order things expensively, right? You bring your goods in the country, the dollar has gone down, and then you come again. You do what you sell your goods cheaply. You try to go and order your stuff again. The dollar has gone up. Are you getting the point? So that's the kind of instability that the UPN is actually creating by this fluctuating of the dollar, whereby you don't know what it will be by the following day. Look at gender. In terms of gender, how many women are there appointed in terms of their cabinet, in terms of all these positions they're appointing? It's a sad story. I think under the PFM we had about 7 ministers or so who were women, if I remember correctly. UPND, how many did they appoint? Is it 3 or 4? You get the point. So the numbers everywhere things are not good at all.
Madam Saboi,
Yeah.
having said what you have, said, and if the government, were to recognize that, you are fit enough to actually, work with them, and given an opportunity, given an offer, would you work with the current government?
The government has always seen me to be fit, okay? They've always given me seen me as fit. And they've given me offers before, and I'm not interested. If you see me joining them, it won't be because they've given me an offer now. It will be because now I've weakened, because of the hunger also, maybe, there's too much hunger in the country. So Nishapona tamo tawero na inat avavuta, guys. Let me just go to the ruling part. You get the point. But the way things stand right now, I don't see myself doing that.
I'm sure that's on a lighter note.
Yeah,
I love that honesty, that level of honesty. I love it, really.
Yeah. No, things are really hard. Things are hard. They're bad in the country. So you find that people sometimes sell their own ideologies. They don't want to say sell their own source to the devil, but somebody who was critical before they start going the other direction, and everybody's shocked. And then they start saying, "No, my eyes were closed. Now I'm seeing the good policies. I'm seeing how were they closed? We saw that your eyes were open."
Trust me, we would call you a sellout. Zambian people will call you a sellout. But anyway, that's only on a lighter note. President Imboela, thank you so much for accepting our invitation to come.
Lance, just
thank
before
you. Thank you so much.
Just before we close, I needed to ask this at the beginning of the program. It's just that we've got, little time, but allow me to ask, I get back to the music, sector, music industry. Where is your twin sister, Chatel?
Well, Barbara is very much around. She's around amongst the businesses that she runs. She runs a restaurant along Church Road, just near Fairview Hotel there. There's that park near Fairview Hotel. And I remember during our music days, we had a lot of shows in that same park. And right now she has a restaurant there. She has very good food, Matebeto food. And I urge everybody who's near that place to pass through and buy some food. You definitely won't regret it.
So have you completely, ditched the music industry?
I've not completely ditched the music industry because sometimes I do campaigns using music, not for politics, even just with the other jobs I do, because, politics is no money if you're in the opposition. So we run media companies, we run a few things here and there, some consultancies. So I find that sometimes you do strategies for organizations, and there's a component of music there in terms of advertising and stuff like that, and then also I manage a few artists myself here and there, so I can never really run away or abandon music completely because I think I have a bit of things to offer, and I'm doing that in my own small way. And by
All
the
right,
way,
thank you
the
so
reason why I
much.
don't even advertise my people so much because of the politics. When people know that these are the people I'm managing, again, others may take it political. So I'd rather do things from the background.
All right,
Okay.
Madam Saboi, thank you so much. And, I really apologize, for keeping you longer than expected. Let me throw it back to Lance as we get to close the program.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, in closing the program, let's appreciate everybody that has come through, our viewers, people that have sent through messages, as well as people that called and tried to call but did not go through. We appreciate you, whether you were watching us from Twitter, YouTube, as well as Facebook. We appreciate you, and most importantly, we appreciate you, Madam Imboela, for coming through, because without you we cannot be broadcasting right now. We appreciate you, and please keep your doors open so that next time we can still come back and approach you so that we come and articulate issues that are affecting the country.
Thank you very much. And anytime, you're very welcome to contact me anytime. I'll definitely be here.
All right, so our dear viewers, thank you so much for watching Ubuntu channel. We appreciate you and thank you. As you know, Meet Your Leaders comes your way every Wednesday from 20 hours up to this time around. So you'll be glad to join us as we bring to you a variety of leaders. Just by the name Meet Your Leaders, we want you to meet your different leaders, both in government, in opposition, in church, as well as also in civil society, so that we can discuss things that affect you. I've been your host, Lance Sani Banda, together with Chaza right here. All that we can say is good evening. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Do not forget, don't do what we can't do tomorrow, which is a holiday, as we also get to, celebrate African Freedom Day. Thank you for being a part of us. But tomorrow, don't forget, we are bringing to you a program which is called, just I've forgotten.
Tomorrow is actually, Thursday, right?
So tomorrow is Thursday.
We
We
are
are bringing
having
Pansaka.
Pansaka. Pansaka is a program
I wanted you
designed
to say it.
Especially 18 years and over.
And above. Yeah, so tomorrow we're discussing a very important topic. Stay glued, stay tuned to Ubuntu channel. Thank you so much. We appreciate, and be back tomorrow at exactly 20 hours. Good evening.